watching Monty TV. I'm Jackie Karsh, sitting down now with Corey Capasso. He's the founder and CEO of Urbint, which uses predictive analysis of urban data. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, Corey.
Thank you for having me.
What is the state of the United States infrastructure?
So a great example I like to use is construction they did last summer in Chicago, where they removed a gas pipe that had leaked 30 times over the last 30 years. That gas pipe was installed in 1859. The year before Lincoln became president. That means it lasted the Chicago fires, the Civil War, and then 150 more years. That pipe is one example of aging infrastructure, and in the United States alone, there's enough pipe like that underground to wrap around the entire world 102 times.
Okay, that's terrifying. What does Urbint do?
Urbint uses artificial intelligence to help make communities safer, more resilient by enabling utilities and infrastructure operators like natural gas operators to pinpoint specific risk using artificial intelligence and then asset replace and prioritize their programs.
You're using artificial intelligence to pinpoint those weak points, right?
Yep.
But do you actually have to go in and take a look at the infrastructure?
No, we don't. Thankfully, we don't. We've got a scalable solution that leverages historical data plus our model of the world, which captures all the different types of external threats, such as construction and weather, that can create additional risk for assets. And then we leverage that with our artificial intelligence process to pinpoint the risk, then incorporate that intelligence into their workflow so they can prioritize their replacement programs and intervene to reduce risk.
What doesn't the general public realize about this? How necessary something like reevaluating our infrastructure is?
You know, I think one of the biggest challenges is that there's a $15 trillion infrastructure gap, and the utilities just in the United States alone are already spending $100 billion annually to address safety and replacement programs. And I think given all the incidences that have happened over the past couple of years, I think the public is pretty aware. I think one of the challenges is that utilities have to balance safety, affordability, and reliability, and at the end of the day, utilities can go out and replace and inspect everything, but then us as consumers wouldn't be able to afford our energy bills.
If they use your technology, will we be preventing things, or are you just predicting when the next occurrence is going to happen?
Yeah, so we love using the word prevention. It's about anticipating risk and then intervening and taking actions to prevent those types of incidences from occurring. So in the end, you're making the community safer, more resilient, in which those utilities serve.
What is the technology at play?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that we do is there's a massive data component and be able to capture all the external threats that can cause infrastructure to fail. I mean, I think one of the biggest things, if you look back historically, there's been patterns that have caused certain types of events, and usually risk is at the intersection of a utilities asset and some sort of external threat. One of the biggest challenges that utilities have faced is they haven't been able to capture and track all those external threats, and then more importantly, in a changing world, when you're battling things like climate change and urbanization, which are exacerbating the problem already with aging infrastructure, it's hard to actually capture all of that. Artificial intelligence allows you to identify all the patterns and sequences and combination of events that lead to those risks, and then you can anticipate them in real time.
Do you get nervous about the fact that if you get it wrong, it can be catastrophic?
So one of the things that we look at is what's the existing status quo today? And we're always providing incremental value over the existing process that's already in place. And from a utilities perspective, they get a lot of criticism for not moving fast enough, not innovating quickly enough. They're always going to be at a better place from a risk perspective if they have a process in place and they're trying new technology versus doing nothing.